At this time, I would like to have NRCS Resource Conservationist Robert Conley come forward to present our next Agricultural Educators Lifetime Achievement Award. Robert grew up on a farm in Monroe County, attended Paris High School, graduated from Northwest Missouri State in 2002. His grandfather worked for SCS for 24 years, and it's great to see Robert following in those footsteps. Robert works out of the Clark County office in Cahokia, and tonight he'll be presenting our next Agricultural Lifetime Achievement Award for the educators. Welcome, Robert Conley.
Well, thank you. First of all, I just like to say that I feel honored to be selected to get to present this award tonight to Kenneth Suter. I know there's hundreds of other producers and professionals who've had the opportunity to learn from Kenneth, and I'm just glad I get to share a few words here tonight. It's ironic that I first met Kenneth 2 years ago here at the Livestock Symposium. I had just transferred to my position with NRCS in Cahokia, and I was here in Kirksville, and I was visiting with John Turner here at the Symposium, and we were talking about how to organize a pasture walk, or maybe even a grazing school in Clark County for the upcoming year. And I remember we were discussing how important it is for an event like that to be successful, to have a landowner host that event who can really lead the discussion. And it's about that point in the conversation where John asked me, he says, well, have you met Kenneth Suter yet? And I said, no. And he says, well, you need to meet him. He's that guy. And so he went and he found Kenneth and he introduced me to him. And with a long story short, the next summer, Kenneth hosted the pasture walk for us. And in this past summer, he actually hosted part of our grazing school. Now, those are just a couple of examples of events that I know Kenneth has hosted over the past 20 plus years. If you read in your program there, you'll see some of the other events that he's hosted at his farm, including the state beef tour, as well as hosting several other foreign visitors. Hosting events like that certainly help in representing how Kenneth is deserving of this award tonight, but to me it's his ability to share his time and experiences with individuals in a one-on-one basis that really makes him stand out. I know in Clark County it's fairly typical for a producer to call up Kenneth and say, hey, can I stop by your place? I'd like to see some things you're doing and talk to you about what you've done. And actually, I myself have done the same thing. I think it was last spring. I called Kenny up and I said, hey, would you mind if I stopped by and quizzed you about some things? And he said, sure. So I stopped by there, and I'd say he spent probably 2 hours that night talking to me about stuff. And I think we talked mostly about, electric fencing of all things. And it certainly, I've benefited from that, from things I can use on my own family's farm. And I certainly benefited from conversations with him in my day-to-day activities with NRCS. And it's pretty common that I go to producers' farms. Actually, I was on one this afternoon, and Kenneth Suter tends to come up. I reference things that I've seen at his place or the things that I've heard him say. And people start asking me things about what I've seen at Kenneth's. They say, well, what does Kenneth use for posts? Or, how does he tie electric fence wire? So, one thing I learned early in Clark County was if you're going to be working with grazers in that county, you better have a pretty good idea what Kenneth Suter's doing. People want to know. And I'll tell you, that guy is a walking encyclopedia when it comes to grazing knowledge. So, Kenneth gets asked to speak at events. I think he spoke here at the Livestock Symposium 2 or 3 years ago. I know this summer he spoke at the Advanced Grazing School in Montgomery County. So he's willing to share his time. And he's also served on boards. I think he mentions in your program there some of the many boards he's served on, including an advisory board member for both the MU Greenlee Research Center and the University of Missouri Forage System Research Center at Linnaeus. He's also served on the Clark County Extension Council and was awarded the FFA Honorary Chapter Farmer degree. Kenneth, I'm not sure where you're at. You can start making your way up here if you want. They call this a Lifetime Achievement Award, but I hope you don't take this to mean that we think you're done. I think you got a lot left to share, and there's plenty of people, young and old, who are going to still learn from things that you're willing to share your time. So, with that, on behalf of the Missouri Livestock Symposium, we'd like to recognize you for your service, contributions to agriculture, and we're proud to honor you with the Agriculture Educators Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you, Robert.
That's nice.
Thank you. I'd like to, first of all, thank the committee for selecting me for this. I feel like there's a lot more people much more deserving than I am. Most of what I have done has been through a feeling of obligation for what other people have done for me in the past. And sort of attempting to be a friend or a neighbor to other people. If you read in this flowery write-up that Bruce did on me, there's a part in there about being a drill instructor at Fort Leonard Wood. At that time in my life, I was a friend to no one. It sounds like a lot of people know what I mean there, and the rest of you, that just kind of went right over the top of your head, and you're lucky. That's good. As I said, there are more people more deserving than I. One of those people one of those people is here tonight. My wife retired this year from teaching third graders and other young children and helping to shape their lives. And to me, that type of activity much more deserves a reward than what I've done. Thank you. And I'd like to give applause to my wife.
Congratulations certainly to both Tom DeBerry and Kenneth Suter on their contributions to our communities and their touching comments. This was really a neat acceptance, and the recipients are to be congratulated.